Hello, hello. Welcome to Paper Pages and Possibilities. My name is Christina. Glad to have you here today. Today I'm going to talk about The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. But before I talk about it, I want to do an experiment. Just kidding. Not that crazy. But I really did enjoy this Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. It is a very immersive story. I feel like this is kind of on par with N.K. Jemison's writing in terms of world building, but definitely different and unique in terms of the idea and the plot. So, first things first, a little bit of a summary. This book is about two main characters that we follow. There's Evar and Livira, and these two start in very separate places, separate worlds, separate environments. And Livira is the first one we encounter. She is living in a settlement in what equivalent to the desert, and they call it the Dust. And there's pretty much dust all around. There's hardly any living thing that they can get to grow in this environment. And we follow Livira. She's a very feisty girl. She doesn't back down from anything. She is very adventurous, definitely willing to try new things, just jump right in without thinking. And because of that, because of her adventurous nature, being in this village in the Dust is so difficult for her. She's a young girl, I think like 8 or 9 when we first meet her, and she is itching to experience something outside of her current environment. She knows that there's got to be something better out there, and she wants to go after it. Well, she gets her wish, but not in the way that she wanted it. She does end up getting kidnapped along with other children in the village and taken to a big city called Krath, which is built around a massive, and I mean very massive, library. And it's basically the library is the center of this city. And then we see Evar. Evar, we don't know at the beginning what the connection is going to be between the two of them. But Evar is in his own environment. He's actually living inside this massive library. It is like miles across in any direction. That's how big this library is. And this is just one room of the library. When you get to any of the four walls, there are doors, but for Evar, they can't get through those doors. They haven't been able to. And he's been trying to find a way out for as long as he can remember. So Evar is very similar to Livira in wanting to get out of his current situation, feeling like there is something better out there than where he is. And we follow his pursuit in attempting to do that. So we follow basically back and forth between Evar and Livira and their experiences both in the library and in the city. There's some time bending. Time is a very loose construct in this world, and we find out through the course of the book that it's not moving at the same rate for the worlds. So in one world, Livira, she goes from like an 8-year-old to about a 20-year-old in the span of time that for Evar, he goes maybe the span of a week. So you can see that their timelines are not equivalent. But they finally encounter each other when they explore outside their boundaries, and they meet in a place called the Exchange, which is like a place between worlds. And based on their similarities, their fascination for new things, they build a connection. And for Loviera, it's over the course of many years. For Evar, it's over the course of a couple of days. But they both seem to understand the very strong connection that they have to each other. That's the main plot. So in terms of the characters, I've already talked a little bit about Loviera and Evar. They're very proactive people and not willing to just sit and wait for things to happen. They go out after it. Because they're open to the new experiences, they are also open to different societies. And I think that makes when they make the connection, that makes that connection easy for them. One of the things we find out through the course of the book is that there's also like two warring civilizations. One, we've got like the humans, and then we have the Sabers. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And they basically throughout time are constantly at war with each other. It's just never ending, and it repeats in a cycle. So that's one of the themes of the book, is this goes in a cycle of, just over and over again, society building up based on the knowledge that's found in the library, and then it getting like burned to the ground from the opposing civilization, and then starting the cycle all over again. And Evar and Loviera are, we hope, the way to stop the cycle. The environment, the atmosphere was the absolute best part about this book. I didn't plan any ahead of time, but there are so many, like if you can see, most of those are quotable moments. So I'm gonna try and pick out one or two. This is something that I think a lot of readers can appreciate. The knowledge that he couldn't possibly read all the books on offer put a peculiar pressure on choosing his next read. There must be diamonds out there, the best book in 1,000, the best book in 1,000,000, and surely he didn't want to waste his time reading one that was merely adequate when he could be reading one of those diamonds. So instead, he often wasted his time hunting for a read instead of reading. And I can identify with that, and I think a lot of people that I know who are readers can identify with that as well. This is a really good one. He said, "A story is a net. It can capture something as large as the spirit of the age or as small as the emotion of a man, watching the last leaf fall from a tree, or sometimes both, and make one a reflection of the other." I thought that was very deep, very deep. Another really good one. "We are the stories we tell to ourselves, nothing more." There's a good bit of social commentary in this book as well, and a couple of quotes I think that really capture that. One of them says, "We deal in affirmation. People don't want truth. They say that they do, but what they mean is that they want the truth to agree with them. Take 99 books that say one thing and one that says the opposite. If the opposite was what the customer was hoping to hear, they'll put their stock in the single volume. In this manner, we learn more regarding human nature from closed books than from anything that might be written within them." Very interesting. Here's I think the overarching theme of this book captured in one of the quotes. "The library teaches us how to do this. Over and over again, it has taught us enough to know how to burn our world to the bedrock, but not enough to stop from doing so. There is a point that all societies reach. I call it the fire limit. Though whether by fire we mean actual fire or something more deadly depends on the circumstances. Anyway, the fire limit is when a people become advanced enough to start a fire but lack the resources to put it out when it spreads. So like so many quotable parts to this book, and I truly enjoyed this. Yeah, I am excited to read the next book in this series. It's just so immersive. It took me a while to get through this. Like it took me 10 days, I think, but it was a book I wanted to take my time with because there was so much that I got out of it. And for that reason, I highly recommend this book. If you have read this book, I would love to hear your thoughts about it. What your thoughts are? Do you share any opinions that I have shared? Or did you dislike the book? I would love to know either way and why. And I'd love to just talk about it, like the merits and demerits of the book and like what we can learn from it. So that's what I've got for you all today. I really appreciate you joining me. And yes, we did not burn the book that wouldn't burn. Uh, but next time, I am looking forward to sharing another book with you and continuing the conversation. For now, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.